All right, let's dive in. We've got this research paper all about AI image editing.
Yeah, and it's a big one. This is about way more than just slapping a filter on your selfie.
Oh, absolutely. This is some next level stuff. This paper focuses on Omni-Edit, and honestly, it's pretty mind-blowing. I mean, think about it. Remember how limited those old AI image editing tools were?
Oh, yeah.
Like, they could barely handle a simple square image.
And even then, half the time it looked like a 5-year-old had gotten a hold of Photoshop.
Right. And forget about trying to edit anything that wasn't perfectly square.
Total nightmare. But Omni-Edit, this is different. This thing can handle pretty much any image you throw at it. Doesn't matter the shape, doesn't matter the size.
So we're talking panoramas, portraits, you name it.
Exactly. And that's not even the best part. What really sets Omni-Edit apart is just how much it can actually do.
More than just your typical brightness and contrast tweaks, right?
Way more. We're talking serious image manipulation. Swapping objects, replacing backgrounds, even changing the whole style of a photo.
Okay, hold on. So you're telling me this AI can basically do the job of a professional photo editor?
Pretty much. And the crazy part is, you don't need any fancy skills to use it. You just tell Omni-Edit what you want, and it does it.
Okay, I have to admit, this is a little intimidating. If AI can do all that, what's going to happen to all the human photo editors and graphic designers out there?
Yeah, that's a really good question, and we'll definitely dig into the whole impact of this technology later on. But first, I think we need to understand how Omni-Edit actually worked its magic. Like, where does it even begin?
All right, let's break it down. How does Omni-Edit learn to do all these amazing things? What's the secret sauce?
Well, one of the key innovations here is what they call specialist to generalist supervision. So instead of trying to learn everything at once, Omni-Edit has a whole bunch of expert AI models, each one specializing in a specific editing task.
So it's like having a team of specialists, right?
Exactly. Like you've got one specialist who's a pro at swapping objects, another one who's all about replacing backgrounds, and so on.
That makes sense. So by learning from all these different specialists, it gets a much broader understanding of what image editing really is.
Right. It's not just limited to one narrow task.
But even with all those experts, wouldn't the results be kind of messed up if the AI is learning from bad examples like garbage in, garbage out, right?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
That's why Omni-Edit uses something called importance sampling. Basically, it makes sure that it's only learning from the best possible data.
So it's like having a quality control team that filters out all the junk and picks only the cream of the crop for Omni-Edit to learn from.
You got it. And that's where some seriously powerful AI models come in, like GPT-4o and Intern VL2. These things are like super smart filters, making sure only the highest quality stuff gets through.
So you've got AI training AI. That's pretty wild.
Yeah, it's pretty meta. And all that attention to detail in the training, that's a big part of why Omni-Edit's results are so impressive.
Okay, so expert teachers and top-notch learning material. What else is going on under the hood here? What makes this thing tick?
Well, there's also the architecture, the way it's all put together. They call it EditNet. It's a bit technical, but basically EditNet helps Omni-Edit actually understand and execute those complex editing instructions.
Mm-hmm.
And it does all that without messing up the original image.
So it's like a translator, right?
Yeah, kind of. Like it helps the AI understand what we're asking for and then makes those changes in a way that actually looks natural, not all wonky and distorted.
Makes sense. But, okay, this all sounds great in theory, but how do we know Omni-Edit actually lives up to the hype? Did they actually test it out?
Oh yeah, they actually created a whole new benchmark called Omni-Edit Bench. They tested it against a whole bunch of other models, and let me tell you, Omni-Edit blew them all out of the water.
Wait, really? How much better are we talking here? Like a little bit or a lot?
A lot. If
Yeah.
you look at Table 1 in the paper, it breaks down how Omni-Edit performs on 7 different editing tasks.
Mm-hmm.
They compared it to all the other leading models, and in almost every single category, Omni-Edit is either right up there with the best or straight up dominating the competition.
So it's not just a little bit better, it's like wiping the floor with them.
Pretty much. And get this, it's not just based on numbers and algorithms. They had actual humans look at the results and judge them. And even they were impressed.
They're kidding.
Nope. On average, they rated Omni-Edit a full 20% better than the next best model when it came to actually doing what it was told and not overdoing the edits.
20%. That's a massive difference. So we're not just talking about a slight improvement here. This is a total game changer for AI image editing. But I'm still curious about those real-world examples you mentioned earlier. Like, what does all this look like in practice?
Oh, you're going to love this. Figure 1 in the paper, it shows some seriously impressive results. We're talking about high-res images, millions of pixels, edited with some pretty complex instructions. And the results, Totally realistic. It's hard to believe it's even AI.
Okay, now I have to see this for myself. This is starting to feel like something that could change everything, like from how we edit our own photos to how professionals work.
Oh, absolutely. It's not just about making our pictures look a little nicer. It's about opening up a whole new world of creative possibilities. And that's what we're going to get into next. Get ready to have your mind blown.
All right, so we've seen what Omni-Edit can do, but now I think we need to step back and ask the big question.
Yeah.
Like, what does this mean for the world if anyone with a computer can realistically edit images with just a few words? It's a
Good
little...
one for sure.
It is. It's like, what happens to the whole idea of seeing is believing when we can manipulate what we see in photos so easily?
Yeah, it's almost like unsettling in a way,
It
right?
is unsettling.
Like we already see this with deepfakes and all this other AI-generated content. But Omni-Edit, it feels like it takes it to another level.
It does.
Because it's not just creating completely new images from scratch. It's taking real photos and changing them, maybe even subtly.
Yeah.
It's going to be harder to tell what's real and what's not.
Okay, so imagine this, right? Someone posts a photo online. It looks like some politician is saying something totally crazy, but it turns out the image was edited with Omni-Edit. How do we know what to trust anymore?
It's a valid concern, definitely. And I think it really highlights this need for ways to check if images are authentic, especially as this tech becomes more common.
Because it's not just politicians, right? It could be used to spread misinformation about anything.
Oh, absolutely. Anything from a health crisis to, the environment,
Now,
anything.
think about the legal side of things. What happens when someone uses this to, like, fake evidence for a court case?
Yeah.
The stakes are high.
Huge implications, yeah.
So this is powerful technology, but it definitely has a dark side too. Is there anything we can actually do to protect against those risks?
Well, the good news is that there are people working on solutions. Some researchers are building algorithms to detect signs of AI manipulation in images.
So like a lie detector, but for photos?
Exactly. It's like a digital fingerprint that says, hey, this image has been messed with. Yeah.
Okay, so maybe we can use those tools to flag fake images before they spread all over the place.
That's the idea, but it'll probably be a constant back and forth. As the tech gets better, so will the detection methods. It's like any tool, really. It can be used for good or bad.
True. Okay, I'm trying to stay optimistic here, but it's hard not to get a little freaked out thinking about how this could be misused. Like, what if someone uses Omni-Edit to create, like, revenge porn or fake news designed to, like, incite violence?
Yeah, I hear you. Those are definitely serious concerns, and it really underscores the need for some ethical guidelines and probably even regulations around how this technology is used.
We need to have those conversations now before it's too late.
Right, before it gets out of control. We need to make sure it's being used responsibly.
Okay, so let's shift gears for a second. Let's talk about the good stuff, because this technology has huge potential for positive impact as well.
For sure.
Like, I'm thinking about education. It seems like Omni-Edit could be a game changer in the classroom.
Oh yeah, imagine being a teacher and being able to bring your lessons to life visually.
Right. Like, instead of just reading about history, students could actually see it.
Exactly. Say you're teaching at ancient Rome. You could take a photo of a Roman soldier and then use Omni-Edit to change his armor, add a different background, or even make him older or younger.
It's like stepping back in time.
Totally.
Yeah.
And it's not just history. Think about science classes.
Yeah.
Imagine being able to visualize like DNA or a molecule or even create a simulation of a chemical reaction.
Wow. That would make learning so much more engaging. Instead of just memorizing stuff, you could actually see how it works.
Yeah. Make it much more intuitive and fun for those visual learners.
Okay. I'm already thinking of a million ways I could use Omni-Edit, but we haven't even talked about one of the most important areas. Healthcare.
Yeah, AI is already changing the game in healthcare, and I think Omni-Edit could take things even further.
Okay, tell me more. How so?
Well, imagine you're a doctor looking at a patient's X-ray or MRI. With Omni-Edit, you could do things like enhance the image quality, highlight specific areas, or even create a 3D model of an organ.
So it's not just about making the images look better, it's about actually making them more useful for diagnosis and treatment.
Exactly. It's about using AI to be more accurate, diagnose things faster, and ultimately improve patient outcomes.
Okay, my mind is officially blown. I'm seeing how this could transform so many fields, from advertising to education to healthcare. It really feels like we're on the verge of a whole new era of visual content.
It is exciting, but also, like we talked about, a little scary.
Yeah.
We have to be careful with this kind of power. We need to have those ethical discussions and make sure we're using this technology for good.
I agree. But you know what? I'm choosing to be optimistic. I think the potential benefits outweigh the risks, and I'm really excited to see what people create with this.
I'm with you. I think this deep dive has shown us that the future of images and visual content is wide open. Who knows what we'll come up with next?
It's all about pushing boundaries and letting our imaginations run wild. But before we get too philosophical here, I'm dying to see some more real-world examples of Omni-Edit in action.
Oh, we've got plenty more coming up. Next time, we'll explore how Omni-Edit is already being used in everything from ads in movies to classrooms and hospitals.
All right, I'm ready. Let's see what this AI image editing wizard can do. All right, we've talked a lot about the potential, but now I want to see it in action. Like, what can Omni-Edit actually do in the real world?
Let's jump into some examples, see how this technology is already being used.
Okay, I'm particularly interested in advertising. It just seems like this could be huge for creating like eye-catching ads and marketing campaigns.
Oh, absolutely. Imagine you're a marketer trying to create an ad that speaks to a very specific audience, like, let's say, coffee lovers in their 20s.
Okay, yeah, I'm trying to sell them on this new brand of cold brew.
With Omni-Edit, you could take a pretty generic photo of someone enjoying a coffee and transform it to perfectly match your target audience.
So I can make the person in the photo look like they're in their 20s, dressed a certain way, maybe even holding the cold brew bottle against a cool urban backdrop.
Exactly. And you could change the whole vibe of the image, too. Make it edgy, sophisticated, or playful, whatever fits your brand.
Wow, that's amazing. No more settling for stock photos that don't quite hit the mark.
And it goes beyond just customizing images. Think about creating dynamic ad campaigns that adapt to real-time trends.
Okay, how would that work?
Let's say there's a sudden heat wave.
All right.
An ice cream company could use Omni-Edit to instantly tweak their existing ads to show those refreshing, summery images.
So they could swap out that picture of someone bundled up in a scarf with a picture of them enjoying an ice cream cone by the pool.
Exactly. You can react quickly, creatively to keep your advertising relevant.
I see what you mean. This is a marketer's dream. But let's move beyond just static images. What about video advertising? That's where Omni-Edit seems like it could really shake things up.
Oh, yeah. Think about it. You're a filmmaker, you're on a tight budget, you want to make a sci-fi film with incredible special effects, but you don't have millions of dollars for CGI.
That's pretty much every indie filmmaker's dream, right?
Exactly. Well, instead of those expensive sets or relying on complicated CGI, you could use Omni-Edit to create realistic alien landscapes, spaceships, even creatures.
So I could shoot a scene in like a regular park and then use Omni-Edit to make it look like an alien planet. Add some weird plants and maybe a few creatures lurking around.
Exactly. It opens up a whole world of possibilities for filmmakers, lets them tell stories that were just too expensive before.
It's all about democratizing those tools, right? Making
Yeah.
it easier for people to create.
You got it. And it's not just filmmaking. Think about education.
Okay, I'm intrigued. How would this work in a classroom?
Say you're a history teacher and you're trying to explain the American Revolution. You could use Omni-Edit to create interactive visuals instead of just lecturing from a textbook.
So I could show my students a picture of like George Washington and then using Omni-Edit, change his clothes, put him in different settings, even age him.
Exactly. It makes history so much more engaging. Students can really visualize the past, connect with it on a deeper level.
It's like bringing history to life right in front of them.
Right. And think about science classes. Imagine visualizing complex stuff like molecular structures or even creating a simulation of a chemical reaction.
Instead of just memorizing formulas, they could actually see those concepts play out. That's amazing.
Exactly. It makes learning science so much more intuitive and engaging.
I'm blown away by the possibilities here. And we haven't even touched on one of the most important areas, healthcare.
Oh, yeah. AI is already revolutionizing healthcare, and I think Omni-Edit has the potential to take it even further.
Okay, hit me with it. How so?
Well, imagine a doctor looking at a patient's scan, like an MRI. They could use Omni-Edit to enhance the resolution, highlight certain areas, even create a 3D model of an organ.
So it's not just about making the images prettier, it's about making them more informative and helpful for diagnosis and treatment.
Precisely. It's about using AI to help doctors be more accurate, diagnose things faster, and ultimately get better outcomes for their patients.
Wow, this has been an incredible journey. We've seen how Omni-Edit could impact everything from how we create ads in movies to how we learn and even receive medical care. It really does feel like we're entering a new era of visual content creation.
It's definitely exciting, but like we talked about before, it also comes with some responsibility. We need to be mindful of how this technology is used. We have to be careful, have those ethical conversations, and make sure we use it wisely.
I couldn't agree more, but I have to say, I'm feeling optimistic. The potential benefits are just too great to ignore. I'm excited to see what people will do with this technology.
Me too. And I think this deep dive has really opened our eyes to just how much potential there is. The future of visual content is wide open. It's a future where creativity and imagination can really run wild.
And that's something worth getting excited about. Well, thanks for getting us on this incredible deep dive. Be sure to check out the show notes for links to all the research and examples we discussed. And until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and most importantly, keep imagining.